Welcome to the legacy of Venerated Ānanda, Vegan, Wisdom, Memory, and Devotion, Part 1 of 2. In the Buddhist tradition, two bhikshu disciple statues are often positioned on either side of the world-honored one, the worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha, vegan. On the left is the venerated Mahaga섭, vegan, and on the right is the venerated Ānanda, vegan. Mahaga섭 is a model of passionate devotion in practice, embodying the spirit of rigorous discipline and asceticism. In contrast, Ānanda is renowned for his knowledgeability and skillful explanation of all queries, as well as his exceptional memory. Standing next to the world-honored one, they symbolize the dual aspects of the Buddha's disciples, deep practice and profound wisdom. Today, we would like to introduce the venerated Ānanda, one of the 10 principal disciples of the Buddha, renowned foremost for having heard much. In the Mahayana Mahaparinirvana Sutra, he was thus praised by the Buddha.
Ānanda is diligent and earnest in practice, able to solve all doubts. You should all observe thoroughly that Ānanda is a well-learned sage.
Ānanda was also the Buddha's attendant, the one closest to the Buddha, who listened to most of his discourses. His astonishing memory enabled him to memorize the Buddha's teachings, thus preserving many precious sutras to this day. Ānanda is considered an important figure in Buddhist tradition, which is well reflected in almost all Buddhist discourses that start with the words, "Thus have I heard." The I denotes the venerated Ānanda, who recited verbatim what he had heard from the Buddha. Ānanda was the youngest male cousin of the Buddha, with a 30-year difference in age. His name, Ānanda, literally means celebration, bliss, joy. Coincidentally, his birthday was on the day of the Buddha's enlightenment, a time of great rejoicing in the city, which inspired his father to choose this name for him. 6 years later, when the Buddha returned to his home country to preach the Dharma, the 6-year-old Ānanda admired him so much that he eventually left a worldly life to follow the Buddha, embracing the monastic path. The venerated Ānanda had a good-looking face with regular features and clear complexion. It was therefore said that he had 30 proper facial features, almost resembling the 32 phases of the Buddha, that everyone seeing him would feel elated. Because he had been practicing for many lifetimes, having been a fervent adherent to all Buddhas, these accumulated merits and virtues caused him to attain a brilliant memory. He could remember everything the Buddha said, with no need for any further inquiry. In the Daiji Dolun, or the great treatise on the perfection of wisdom, Ānanda was so praised in one of the Buddha's poems.
Having a face bright and tranquil as the full moon, with eyes as pure and radiant as the lotus blossom, Ānanda's heart is filled with Dharma teachings as vast as the sea. Such a perfect being, so appealing that anyone seeing him will rejoice exceedingly.
Ānanda was a person of sincerity, selflessness, and thoughtfulness towards others. He was also humble, polite, and tolerant, qualities that endeared him to both monastics and lay people, who regarded him with great respect, while also treating him as a friend. Throughout his life, Ānanda had no enemies. The Buddha did not hesitate to praise him too.
Among my Shravaka or sound-hearer disciples, he is the foremost bhikshu, grasping the right timing to make the appropriate action, understanding the nature of things. Whatever he does, there would be no hindrance in his way. Having a brilliant memory, a person of extensive knowledge, I am telling you, these are the qualities of Ānanda the bhikshu. Excerpt from Ekutara Agama.
Many bhikshus wondered about Ānanda's past merits that enabled him to remember all the teachings of the worshipped Shakyamuni Buddha vegan flawlessly. Our most beloved Supreme Master Qinghai, vegan, told the story during a lecture in 2015. The bhikshus approached the Buddha and asked,
Praise to the world honored one. Ānanda Bhikshu, in the former life, what has he done to earn so much merit that nowadays he could remember everything like this? Please tell us. So the Buddha said, excellent. I will tell you. This was long time ago. Long time ago. There was a bhikshu who had adopted Sami. You know Sami in Sanskrit also? Okay, meaning a novice, a novice monk, a young boy who came in and learning to be a monk. Every day he make him learn the sutras by heart, very diligently, on time, and never fail. Yeah. If this Sami recited the sutras, the teaching and all that according to the time schedule, then the bhikshu was very happy. Yeah. If not, then he was upset and sometimes reprimanded him, scolded him.
One day, after a difficult alms round, with little food, the Sami returned late and missed his recitation schedule. The next day, while begging for food and crying, a wealthy person asked why he was upset. The Sami explained,
My master is very strict. If I follow the recitation schedule, he is happy. If not, he scolds me. Begging for food isn't always predictable, and sometimes I can't return on time to complete my tasks.
So the rich noble gentleman said, Oh, so from today then, you just come to my house. We always have enough food. I will always give ample food for you and your master. So you never have to worry about food anymore. Then you can have time and concentration to recite the Buddha Sutras. Yeah, wow, that's very nice. Yeah. So since then, he always go there and has everything he need. And master and disciple, very, very happy, happy ending. And then the Buddha reminded the assembly thus, Bhikshu, you should know, the master of the Sami at that time is the Buddha, a stable light, that's the name. And the Sami at that time is the past reincarnation of myself. Yeah. The noble gentleman who offer food every day to the master and disciple, that was Ānanda.
In many Buddhist scriptures, Ānanda often plays the role of requesting the Buddha to deliver lectures to the public. Numerous sutras begin with dialogues between the Buddha and Ānanda. For instance, the Surangama Sutra, one of the most influential Buddhist texts, came into being through Ānanda's encounter and entanglement with a maiden named Mettanga while he was going for alms. They had been husband and wife in their past 500 lifetimes, and Mettanga's mother attempted to use sorcery to compel Ānanda to marry her daughter. Fortunately, the Buddha sent the worshipped Manjushri Bodhisattva vegan to rescue Ānanda by reciting the Surangama Sutra. Subsequently, Matanga was taught by the Buddha, ordained as a bhikshuni, and attained arhat status. This is how the Surangama Sutra came into existence. In the first 20 years of the Buddha's ministry, he had several personal attendants, but none were permanent. By the time the Buddha reached around 53 years of age, he realized a need for a dedicated, permanent attendant, as his previous attendants had not performed their duties satisfactorily, and his need for reliable assistance grew more pressing with age. Several of his foremost disciples eagerly volunteered. However, the Buddha did not accept any of them. Throughout this process, Ānanda remained silent. Curious, the other disciples asked him why he hadn't stepped forward. Ānanda calmly replied, "The Buddha knows best whom to choose." Ānanda was chosen as the Buddha's attendant. However, Ānanda set 3 conditions before accepting the position. First, he would never wear the Buddha's clothes, whether new or used. Second, he would not escort the Buddha to any meal offering party when invited by any followers. Third, he would not go to see the Buddha at those times when he was not supposed to go. Knowing this, the Buddha was not offended by these conditions. Instead, he praised Ānanda readily, saying he was indeed a bhikshu of good character and very clever too, able to foresee the consequences of actions. The Buddha recognized that Ānanda's requests were to prevent any suspicion or thought that he had chosen the position with ulterior motives. During his tending the Buddha, the venerated Ānanda proved that he was well qualified for the job. Not only did he care for the Buddha with devotion, but he also greatly contributed to the internal harmony of the Sangha.
Don't be vegan, cause the pandemic will distance itself from you, or just kind of brush by you.
Noble viewers, thank you for joining us today.